From Land's End to John O'Groats, welcome to the GCN Show.
Hello and welcome to the GCN Show, brought to you by our friends at Wiggle.
Oh, so, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, this week, as you can see, we're out in Alta Badia in the Dolomites. The reason I was having a little rest is because yesterday he cycled 340 kilometres with 9,000 metres of climbing. Utterly bonkers.
It's called Everesting.
Most people, I think, Ollie, will call it bonkers. Anyway, coming up this week, we're talking about the lost arts of cycling. Are there skills that are starting to die out? We also have news of the world's fastest ever cyclist. Someone has just taken that crown, and we also have much more besides. You're going to need like a caffeine gel or something before we get going.
I never want to see another caffeine gel ever again.
All right, maybe we'll find an espresso.
I don't know about you, Si, but I'd say there's certainly worse places to sit and talk about bikes.
I think you might be right, Ollie. Now, this week in the world of cycling, we learned, just prior to the World Championships actually, who the fastest cyclist in the world really is. Step forward, Denise Mueller-Korenek, who has just ridden an astonishing 183.9 miles per hour.
That is some seriously impressive motorpacing.
Oh yeah.
More on that later, but this week we also learned that Simon Yates can indeed survive the final week of a Grand Tour, as he rode incredibly well in the final week to smash the Vuelta and seal his overall victory.
Made quick work of your apple strudel there, Ollie. Now, Dan goes in depth into just how Simon Yates won this year's Vuelta, aside from just being the strongest rider in the race. But one thing he didn't talk about, which we were mulling over, was just how his team, Mitchelton Scott, played some really canny team tactics in order to help him. So, for example, playing poker with breakaways, enforcing Movistar, their arch rivals, to chase, and then indeed being happy to actually let the lead of the whole race go to another team entirely to relinquish them temporarily of leadership duties. And it's quite a kind of old school swashbuckling style of racing, isn't it? That actually we don't see all that much in Grand Tours anymore.
It got us thinking, are these kind of tactics at risk of dying out? And if they are, then what are the other cycling skills that are also at risk of becoming extinct?
Well, sticking with racing for just 1 minute, there's a lot of talk, isn't there, about how power meters change the way riders race.
Yeah, well, Sky.
Yeah, change the way that Sky race, and therefore, by extension, a lot of other riders. So what would happen if you actually banned power meters from racing? Would there be riders who would still be able to ride purely on feel? I mean, how comfortable would a team be letting a rider attack in the mountains if you didn't know categorically that you were already riding at 400 watts? Would you be more inclined to chase, knowing that there might be a chance that they would be able to sustain it, rather than looking at your power meter and going, not a chance in hell, no way, he's coming back to me?
Yeah, well, speaking personally, I feel that I've become completely reliant on a power meter as a pacing tool. And I used to run a fair bit and did a bit of triathlon back in the day.
Just drop that bombshell casually in there, Ollie.
Yeah, and you learn how to pace. You learn what a 5-minute mile feels like, or 1:15, 400 meters, and I just feel that that's something that you really are in danger of losing if you use a power meter, as I certainly have. But don't worry, I'm past my tri-curious phase now.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. For many of you out there, you won't have a power meter, of course, so technically this won't apply to you as yet, but given that it might be happening at the very top tiers of professional cycling, is it therefore going to filter down eventually and affect all of us?
Next up, we have another equipment related one. So, pedalling really slowly up long climbs, or any climb to be honest. So, back in the day, riders like Jacques Anquetil and Eddy Merckx were famed for grinding and pedalling really slowly up monstrous mountains, because they often had big chain sets on and really small cassettes as well.
Yeah, 42-21 was kind of the common lowest gear of the day, and ironically then actually that became the equivalent of a compact during the 90s, and if you don't believe us, just watch some archive footage of Marco Pantani racing and you will clearly see. But nowadays, 34 chainrings and 32 tooth cassettes are commonplace amongst normal riders and pro cyclists alike, allowing everyone to spin merrily up even the steepest of climbs.
Yeah, but personally, I'm not a big fan of grinding.
Hang on. I like grinding.
Yeah?
Not like that, but as in, I genuinely like the feeling of running out of gears and then really having to lean on it to get over a climb. Admittedly, my local roads have relatively short climbs and I'd come unstuck out here, for example, so I have nice easy gears on. But I kind of worry that maybe if someone spent their whole time cycling in really, really easy gears, then maybe they're missing out on something. I don't know what you'd be missing out on,
Yeah.
but it feels like it might be important.
Another skill that's definitely on the way out and potentially being lost is route finding. Remembering where you're going and looking at maps. GPS devices are becoming increasingly popular and they make it super easy to just follow a route which you can download from something like Strava or Komoot. And then that means you don't really have to remember where you are or where you're going.
No, and you know what? I think that's kind of a good thing, actually. I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love looking at maps. And I also think it's very good to know where you are at all times so you don't blindly follow your GPS route into the middle of a lake like you occasionally read about people in cars doing. But it's got to be said, there is nothing better than turning up in a new area and effortlessly following an amazing ride without getting lost and without stopping at every single junction to consult your route.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that the art of route finding is becoming lost,
Yeah.
but you don't think it's a bad thing.
I will not mourn the loss of the art of route finding.
But one thing I will say to that is that a compass and a map can still work without batteries.
True. Maps could get wet and disintegrate.
Not if you
When was the
laminate
last
them.
time you rode with a compass
Not if you laminate them. I always ride with a compass all the time.
on your phone? Lastly, one that old and miserable cyclists always seem to bang on about is bunch riding skills.
I feel really strongly about this.
See?
Hang on, what are you trying to say? Riding in a group is one of the best bits of cycling, but it is something that needs to be taught and learned, and I think it takes a while to communicate the importance of it to newer cyclists.
Yeah, true. It should not just be seen as old and miserable cyclists being a little bit grumpy. But, well, you know. But no, and as you say, actually, it's as valuable a skill almost as being able to go around a corner or climb out of the saddle. And furthermore, learning those skills should be enjoyable, shouldn't it? It shouldn't just be, you know, someone shouting at you on the chain gang when you're making a mistake.
Which is how I learned.
Which is how I learned.
But we are going to be making some videos. We're going to be shooting them tomorrow, actually, on the finer points of group riding. So stay tuned on the channel and keep an eye out for those coming out in the future.
Yeah, hopefully, Ollie, your legs will have recovered a little bit because
I hope so.
Emma said she's going pretty hard tomorrow. Yeah, but anyway, let us know what you think are the dying arts of cycling. Are there other things that we've missed that you think are on the way out? And furthermore, how should we communicate to people newer to the sport and actually get them to learn these skills that perhaps otherwise they might not get the chance to appreciate? Get involved in the comment section. Now, it seems unfair, I think, to talk about how tired and grumpy Ollie is today without actually giving you guys a bit of an insight into what went on yesterday.
Yeah, so I rode up a climb called the Passo di Valparola, which is a big monster behind us. It's the biggest mountain in the universe, basically. And I had to ride up it 12 times in order to reach the cumulative height of Everest.
So you might say it's a 12th the height of Everest,
Yeah.
despite being the biggest mountain in the universe.
Yeah. It
Anyway.
felt like the biggest mountain
That's
in
a
the universe.
technicality. Well, yeah, to be fair, it's pretty epic.
Thanks. Q vlog segment, I think.
Yeah. Q vlog.
Nervous. Really nervous. More nervous than 99.9% of germs in a Domestos factory.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
We'll begin cycling shorts with that incredible land speed record from Denise Mueller-Korenek. So to do this, she rode behind a custom drag car, and she actually also rode this custom KHS bike, which kind of basically looks like a motorbike, but without a motor.
Yeah. It's got motorbike tyres for a start. Apparently bike tyres aren't really designed to handle 183.9 miles per hour. It's also got steering dampening to stop her wobbling around all over the place. And then finally, you can see that the wheelbase on that bike is like double the length of a normal bicycle. There's no coincidence that it looks like a chopper motorbike. She gets towed up to 100 miles per hour and then released inside that kind of like shelter behind the drag car. But then she's got to put out over 700 watts for well over a minute in order to be able to reach the kind of speeds that she was reaching.
Seriously impressive.
Oh my God, yeah.
But what really terrified me about this when I first read about it in Wired was that if she drops too far back behind the drag car, then a big wave of turbulence can hit her and potentially knock her off. So at 130 miles per hour, this is equivalent to, say, a small child giving you a push. But then as soon as you get up to 150 miles an hour, it's like an NBA player giving you a full-on shove.
Okay.
And then at 183.9 miles per hour, it's, well...
It doesn't bear thinking about, really, does it?
No.
Terrifying. Now, hats off 100% to Denise. That is a remarkable effort, a remarkable record. Hats off too, if you'll excuse the seamless segue, to Giorgia Bronzini, who rounded out her tremendous career, in fact, including 2 world titles among 80 other victories, with one final win on Sunday.
She took the sprint in the Madrid Classic ahead of Sarah Roy and Charlotte Becker, putting them on the lower steps of the podium. The overall was won by Ellen van Dijk, thanks to her Sunweb team taking victory in the team time trial on the first stage.
Yeah. Now, staying in Spain, obviously, we mentioned at the beginning of the show about Simon Yates clinching that Vuelta España. You've got to say, it's caps off a remarkable year for British cycling, haven't you? Given that there have been 3 British winners of all 3 Grand Tours this year, and 3 different riders at that.
Yeah, so stat time. According to Café Roubaix, this has only happened twice before in history. In 1964, France did it with Jacques Anquetil, and then Raymond Poulidor. In 2008, Spain achieved it with Alberto Contador, Carlos Sastre, and Contador.
Yeah. So technically, then, this is actually a first, isn't it? The first time one country has won all 3 Grand Tours with 3 different riders.
I think you've just invented our own GCN stat there.
Right, well, that doesn't happen very often.
No, pretty good. Well, also, I wonder if it's happened before that what the record is for the same country winning consecutive Grand Tours on the bounce, because GB are currently on 5.
I tell you what, the reason that stat isn't available in our fingertips is probably because no one has ever cared before, because other countries have been so successful. It's only because Great Britain has been so rubbish for so long that actually now it seems quite remarkable. And it is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Anyway, a little side story from this year's Vuelta, gossipy little side story, was Fabio Aru having a really nasty crash, but then he can be heard in the aftermath swearing at his bike.
Yeah, you don't dish your bike when it's a Colnago, do you? Yeah, apparently Aru actually phoned up the legendary bike builder Ernesto Colnago himself and apologised over the phone, according to Tuccio Beachy-Web.
That'd be quite an awkward conversation, you can imagine, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but to be honest, I feel a bit sorry for Aru though. I mean, he's had a terrible year in terms of results. And it appeared that he wasn't actually swearing at the bike, but it was more a mechanics error in that he actually managed to jump the chain off the 11-tooth sprocket so that it got jammed in between the 11-tooth and the frame, and that's what caused the problem.
Yeah, the old limit screw. We should probably tell the UAE Emirates.
They should watch our video on how to adjust a rear derailleur.
They probably should, shouldn't they? Lastly, away from racing now, and we touched on the issues surrounding autonomous cars and the way that they're trying to program them to account for cyclist behaviour. Well, a good long while ago now, actually, and so we were a little bit saddened to read this week that there seems to still be quite a long way to go before a consensus is reached.
Yeah, so apparently the big question that the United Nations is debating, yes, the United Nations, I thought they did like wars and famines and stuff, but apparently they do this as well,
right.
Is whether or not cars should brake or swerve in order to avoid cyclists.
Crikey.
Now, this is slightly terrifying, but only because you don't sort of ever consider these judgments in the same situation.
No, that's true, actually. Even more terrifying, I guess, would be to actually see inside someone's head at the point where they're having to make the decision to swerve or brake, and that means cyclists as well as car drivers. I mean, can you imagine it? Swerve, brake, swerve, brake, swerve, brake, swerve, brake, swerve, brake, brake! Yeah. In a way, I'd almost rather it was handled by a computer.
It's now time to announce the very lucky winner of our amazing Oman giveaway.
Oh yes, shall I give you a drum roll, Ollie?
Yeah, go for it, man. The winner is Josh Gilbertson from Great Britain.
Josh, congratulations. There is still a question, Ollie, remaining here. So Josh obviously is the winner of the amazing Oman trip, the Haute Route Oman entry and everything that goes with it, plus of course the 3T Strada bike. It was a big giveaway, wasn't it?
Amazing prize.
But remember, one person gets to go with Josh. So the question is, who is Josh gonna take to ride the Haute Route
Just
Oman
putting
with
it out
him?
there, I am available on those dates.
I believe
Josh.
I'm free as well, actually.
Yeah.
So I mean, effectively, you could select from one of the amazingly talented bike riders on offer in front of you. No,
Who are they then?
to be fair, actually, he could probably ask Emma nicely. She's already there.
Yeah,
She'd
probably, yeah.
lead him out up every mountain and on the flat bits. Yeah. Anyway, huge congratulations. That is going to be wicked. Keep us posted on how it goes and who you pick to go with you.
It's now time for our weekly inspiration, where you submit your inspirational cycling photos for a chance to win 50, 75 or £100 in vouchers from our friends at Wiggle.
That is cool, isn't it? Right, without further ado, let us get straight on to our podium. In third place, winning £50 of the Wiggle vouchers, is Robin Moore. So this was sent in by Audiophile21, and it's Robin Moore's photograph of the iconic road that goes around the Cape, just south of Cape Town. So Simonstown, in fact, which seems like a place that I should probably go. I think I've been there, actually, thinking about it.
I've never been there. It's on my list, and this photo has propelled it even higher up my list.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? And not only that, it's another slightly damp photo. So to try and not have constantly beautiful sunny photos, he said, what a ride it turned out to be. Sunshine, rain, hail, truly epic. So yeah, fantastic. And congratulations to you. Right, who is in second place tonight?
So in second place, we have Sam, who's taken this picture on the Col de Obis, which is one of my favourites. In fact, I'm going to say it's my favourite climb in the Pyrenees. It's beautiful. Him and his mate Michael have been going bike packing during their gap year, and they've been going throughout the sort of Pyrenees, and they took this picture. He's got his bike as well, his Villiers 07.
It looks like he's an experienced bike packer because he's got his mug dangling on the outside, I think I could see. So he's obviously graduated from the school of bike packing. Anyway, 75 quid to you. Congratulations. You probably need to buy some stuff if you've been bike packing around the Pyrenees. I guess you've probably worn some stuff out. Right, anyway, in first place, we've got this, which is a wicked photo, isn't it? Can you tell us the location? Because my accent, I don't think will cut the mustard.
Yeah, so this has been taken at Wastwater in the Lake District, which is an area very, very well known to me, and it is one of my favourite places in the entire world. But yeah, it's just absolutely stunning location.
Yep, so this is sent in by Niels. He's saying that he is hoping to get his girlfriend into cycling. She didn't need much persuasion, however, to join a ride along the stunning Wastwater.
Let's just hope he didn't take her up Hard Not Pass, because that would
Is that
put her
a
off.
euphemism?
It's not a euphemism, it's a real climb. Look at
Right, okay, good stuff. Anyway, there we go. Thank you very much. 3 deserving winners there. If you want to get involved and submit something to GCN's weekly inspiration for next week, remember you can just use the hashtag GCN Inspiration on Instagram, or send it straight to us using our uploader, the link to which is in the description beneath this video. Some bad news for Tech of the Week now. As if you needed reminding, for many of us, winter is coming, and with it, shorter days and longer nights, as well as the crap weather. But have no fear, there is a bright spot on the horizon. New lights, including these ones from Cateye. We actually talked about them briefly at Eurobike, but they now have officially launched onto the market. So these are the Cateye Sync lights. They are smart lights, and so they can be connected together, synced, and also synced with your phone as well via an app. You can get up to 7 apparently, all synced up together.
Yeah, and it's really easy to turn them on or off. In fact, you can turn them all on or off with just a single button press on the app, which is really easy. You can also control them individually, so you can set flashing modes and things like that. And you can also see the individual battery life of each light as well, which is really clever.
Displayed on your phone. Great for idiots like me. Now, In addition, they have daytime running modes, and they can act as brake lights, so they can sense that you're decelerating and glow brighter, which is pretty cool.
It's clever.
Yeah, now, another thing that caught my attention this week, not technically new, but it's one of those problems, I think, for urban cyclists, is actually where do you park your bike securely, particularly if you live in a flat or whatever. Anyway, and one company that might have an answer is Cyclock.
Yeah, Cyclock are making secure bike parking solutions, and they're available to businesses so that you can have safe, secure bike parking at your place of work, but they're also available in public spaces as well, and they're pretty cool. So they're weatherproof, they can have e-bike charging ports inside them as well, and you can actually pay to use them via an app, and you can book them in advance.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? Anything that can help to improve cycling infrastructure in cities is a good thing in my book. The bit that I particularly like is they said that you can get 12 of these secure boxes on one car parking space.
Yeah.
Which is mega, isn't it? I might try and campaign for my street. Not that I need 12, but, you know, between me and the other residents, you know, I need 11.
It's now time for hack/bodge.
Of the week. First up, we've got this from Yasmin Muller, who is an ultra-endurance athlete and was attempting a pretty serious ultra-endurance record. Anyway, she attached these lights to her shoes. Remember from that daytime running lights video that moving lights are even better than static lights. Anyway, these are the little clip-on LEDs that you can fit on the back of Lima helmets, and she stuck them to her shoes.
Yeah, onto the dials of her shoes.
That's cool, isn't it?
That is cool.
That's
a definite hack for me, that.
Yeah, nice one there, Yasmin. Right, next up.
Yeah, we have Taufik Abidin, and he said he saw this when volunteering in a workshop. Triangle bars on an old steel bike, combining the brake bar and aero bar.
That is remarkable, isn't it? What do you do with the front bit apart from, I don't know, hit people with it?
I don't know where you hold it. I don't know where you put your hands.
How have they done it? I'm calling bodge.
That is a bodge.
Without knowing any more information, I'm calling
it's a
bodge.
bodge.
Right, much like this next one. Now, as loath as I am to say that there is a place for a top tube bag, when this is what you do to your top tube, I'd say probably the top tube bag is the lesser of two evils. There's 13 gels apparently on there. This was spotted at the transition at an Ironman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of gels, isn't it, for 113 miles?
I mean, there's a number of things annoying me here.
Yeah.
That are grinding my gears.
Go on.
Firstly, that's not aero at all, is it, having all those there?
No, a lot of turbulence coming off those.
Yeah, and secondly, it's just, well, it just looks horrendous.
Yeah, also you might get a bit of chafage.
Yeah.
The edge of gels, if you're rubbing your knees,
Sharp
it can get quite
wrappers.
sharp, yeah.
That's
so
a bodge.
ill thought out. That was sent in by George.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, George, for sending that one in. And yeah, I think that probably is a bodge. Maybe a couple on there. That's a hack.
Yeah.
More than two, it's a bodge. Right, this last one, this was sent in by Josh Bennett, and this is a grade A hack. I love this. It's a video. We'll speed up the first little bit, but then how cool is that for packing your cycling kit? Amazing.
That is neat.
Yeah, there we go. If you want to get involved with GCN hack/bodge for next week, remember you can just use the hashtag GCN hack on social media, or once again, the uploader.
It's now time for the caption competition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this one.
I mean, my caption last week, I was really proud of it. What's the caption this week that's the winner?
The winner. Well, so this was the photograph.
Yeah.
The one that by common consensus was the most popular out of all 1,000 or so comments was this one from Lloyd Ball. So congratulations to you. Me waiting for Ollie to come up with a decent caption. Absolute perler. Congratulations there. Genius.
I don't get it.
Okay. Anyway, Lloyd, congratulations. You get yourself a GCN Camelback water bottle, of which we have lugged all the way up here to this wondrous viewpoint. Now, anyway, given that caption, I think maybe I should tackle this week. Here's your photo.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes, that's a photo of Albacini and
It is indeed,
wheel.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
what's your caption?
Can pro cyclists maintain their own bikes? Not on this evidence, as Albacini grapples with what to do with his front wheel.
So what's your caption then?
That was it. There was a GCN video about can pros maintain their own bikes, and so it was like semi-in joke that some of our viewers will get.
Oh, okay.
If you want to have a go, think you can beat that one, then just pop your caption in the comment section down below. It's probably because you're a bit tired, mate. Still.
Yeah. Comment of the week now, and the comment that we've selected is from Colin Thompson, who wrote in response to the picture in Hackor Bodge of the little stone in the derailleur, does a stone in the derailleur make it a gravel bike? That's pretty funny. Yeah,
That's
it's good.
absolutely genius. Nice on there, Colin. Yeah, amazing. Quite a contentious show last week, actually.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? That obviously provoked a lot of debate as to whether road bikes are better than gravel bikes. Of course, there's no kind of better because they're different. But anyway, it was good to air some points about that. We did ask you for your opinions. Do you want to know who thinks road bikes are better than gravel bikes? 76% of people think that road bikes are better than gravel bikes. So there you go. It's probably not as skewed as I thought it was going to be. So yeah, a lot of support building for gravel bikes there. Now, there was also one other comment that particularly jumped out at me. This was under Chris OP's video about skills to learn whilst waiting for your mates in the car park, which is a stroke of genius as far as I'm concerned. Zach Swan wrote, who is the new wheelie king, Chris or Dan? I think what Zach meant to write was, who is wheelie the king, Chris or Dan? But
I think we should see what Travolta thinks about that.
yeah.
Brace yourselves, it's Extreme Corner.
Oh man, that is a super cool animation there, isn't it? Tyson Ibele there created that using his own particle simulation tool for 3ds Max.
I think hopefully now we've seen that, we don't actually ever have to see it for real.
No, that's very true actually.
Yeah.
Although Red Hook Crit Milan is coming up, and that tends to be what happens actually when you race with no brakes.
Yeah, don't say that, mate. Me and James are going there at the end of the month.
Yeah, you and James are going there at the end of the month. Yeah. Right. Well, there you go. We've got a couple of important notices for you all. Firstly, next week we have the first GCN Live Zwift race coming up. So if you want to take part, make sure you register your interest. It's on the 25th of September, 7 p.m. UK time. So by my reckoning, most of the world should be able to race that, probably. If you're up early in Australia, no, hang on a minute. Sorry, you'll probably be able to enter. Anyway, get involved. That should be super, super cool. Lloydie's commentating something streamed live on GCN. Mega exciting. And then secondly, we've also got this, which is just hit to the GCN shop. Talk us through it, Ollie.
This is the new GCN winter jacket from ASOS, and it's just got loads of awesome features in there. My favourite thing though is this amazing fabric they've got on the inside. I mean, you can look at that and just see how good quality it is, but it basically offers loads of insulation and breathability, but without having huge volume of, it's just great.
It's like insulating Smarties or Minstrels, isn't it?
Great, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Anyway, so that is now available in the shop. That is us now officially signing out from Club Moritzino in Val d'Ila, high above the Alta Badia Valley. Tell you what, I'm not sure we're going to top this for locations for a while, are we?
Can we do next week's show at Club Moritzino as well?
Hang on a minute. No. No, we can't, unfortunately. No, we've got to go home. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. Give us a big thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. And if you wanted to watch another video, then if you haven't seen it already, we investigated the rather sensitive subject of whether cycling can impact men's sexual health. So that one is definitely worth a watch.
I'm going to go to bed now.
You go to bed, mate. Don't worry.
Thanks, man.